Welcome back to our Inside the Issues special hour. The people who run this country are obsessed with Russia. We hear that every day. Weirdly, they prefer to ignore China, at least in public. In private, they're taking a lot of money from China. But what do China's leaders think about us? Well, it turns out they think a lot about Donald Trump and his tough posture on trade. Are they impressed? Well, we asked Michael Pillsbury. He is director of the Center on Chinese Strategy at the Hudson Institute and a frequent traveler to China. He's also the author of maybe the single best book on the subject, The 100-Year Marathon, China's Secret Strategy to Replace America as the Global Superpower. Michael Pillsbury, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
There was a surprising piece written by a Chinese expert in the Financial Times recently that described the Chinese leadership's view of Donald Trump. And it came as, I think, something as a surprise if you just follow the news coverage of Trump in this country. It said, essentially, Chinese leadership believes that our president is playing a kind of three-dimensional chess. He's a brilliant tactician, and that they fear he's outflanking them strategically. Do you think that's right?
Yes, I was in Beijing a week ago, and I think I heard pretty much the same thing, that they think President Trump is basically the superior president out of the last 5 or 6 that's ever dealt with China, and that he's done the most to alter the relationship. He's really got their attention. They're quite concerned that there's something deeper going on than they're aware of. So you get this sense that the Chinese leadership and the advisors to the leadership are afraid of being outsmarted by President Trump.
It's a little odd from a non-expert's point of view because it doesn't seem like his posture has been that aggressive. Is it just that he's the only president to fight back at all, or do they think more is coming?
Both. I think he's distinguished himself as fighting back at all, number one. Number two, the details and the depth of his allegations in these several White House reports he's released are really quite stunning to the Chinese. He's basically alleging that they stole their way to the top. They've had forcible technology transfers from U.S. companies, these outright stolen technology, and that they sort of have an illegitimate path to be number 2 in the world. That he would say these kinds of things, especially this term he's used in some reports, economic warfare, that China is committing economic warfare against America and other countries. This is really quite astonishing to them. They're used to being, if you will, coddled or spoken politely to. So this is really quite a shock. And it's working, I think.
Do they agree with the assessment fundamentally? When you speak to them candidly, do they acknowledge that there is some truth in the president's description of their behavior?
No, they're quite firm that this is all lies, defamation. The American companies who've testified to our trade representative's office over the last 6 months are all, making up stories. They're adamant, denying everything. And this, frankly, Tucker, makes it awfully hard to negotiate. They haven't met us not even halfway. They haven't met us 1/4 of the way yet. So I'm pessimistic in the short term. Obviously, if President Xi and President Trump get together again, if the terms are right, then some kind of a deal could be struck. But I think we're a long way from that.
Do you think that so far this change in our attitude toward China has helped the United States? Have we gotten something out of this?
Well, it's kind of a strange reaction, but we've certainly got the attention of the European Union. The European Union Commissioner, Mr. Juncker, came here not less than a month ago and now wants to work toward zero subsidies and zero tariffs with the United States. This, too, Tucker, is stimulating paranoia in China. They now are beginning to think that President Trump is so smart, as you say, playing three-dimensional chess, that he has got the Europeans on his side. And they've issued a set of warnings just in the past week to the Europeans not to fall for President Trump's trap.
I mean, is there something kind of wonderfully amusing about this story, or is it just me?
It's partly just you, but don't forget, President, you want to see some change and some aggressive steps, and the president has certainly done that. I think the next step is going to be to see what the first Chinese offer will be after these 2 months now of basically no contact. They've been making hints. They've dropped a couple of hints in newspapers recently that they're willing to renegotiate investment terms with us. They're willing to say that there may have been some minor violations by a few Chinese companies or local provinces, but certainly the center, the Communist Party and President Xi, never did anything wrong. So we haven't come very far, but yes, I think it's refreshing to see this level of respect for the United States. I haven't seen it in 40 years. Usually the Chinese look down on us as not being very bright.
Yes. And for good reason. Michael Pillsbury, thank you for that perspective. It was great.
Thanks, Tucker.